I thought he wouldn't come back. I thought he'd be scared to show up, to be quite honest with you. I thought Michael Irvin would sit up there and say, let me stay away. Let me stay away because this boy is going to school me. But evidently, afro in tow, double-breasted suit and all. He actually think he's ready.
Clean and ready, and what a great day. And now we have some information and some knowledge to go off of.
You did tell me before you were casket clean. I wouldn't call you casket clean this morning. You clean, but not casket clean. I'm just saying. First takes in the house.
Let's get rolling.
Let's go.
Dogs won outright on Sunday. 5 road teams, the most in 35 years. That is Stephen A. Smith. That is the Hall of Famer Michael Irvin. I am Molly Karen Rose. Hi, gentlemen. Hope everyone had a good weekend.
I hope you had a wonderful weekend.
I did.
Good morning, bro. How you doing?
I
know you ready to go, but when you show up on First Take, first thing is the pleasantries. You say good morning. How you doing? You understand?
Listen, I have no issue with saying good morning to everybody because it is a great morning after, like you just said, Molly, a great weekend of football because now we have information and we can start making understandings about what teams can do off that information.
And we'll see how much credence we take after week 1, because when I said surprises, there certainly were a lot. But Stephen A., tell everyone it's kind of a new day here on First Take.
Well, listen, this is the second week of a new day, essentially. Last week was our first week. Obviously, Max Kellerman has moved on. He's doing big things with his own television show coming up. Encourage everybody to watch that. Obviously, he's doing radio every morning with Keyshawn and Jay Williams. Molly and I are still here. It's really about me going up against a whole potpourri of individuals. Michael Irvin, he had the audacity to show up for a second Monday. He'll be here every Monday. My man Keyshawn Johnson will be here most Tuesdays. Marcus Spears Swagoo will be here most Wednesdays. Dan Orlovsky, Jeff Saturday, those guys like that will be in the mix. Tim Tebow will be every Friday. Ryan Clark, Dominique Foxworth, Mina Kimes. The list goes on and on. Plus, people in the world of sports and entertainment who've always talked about wanting to get at me by sitting in that chair. You can have your opportunity to do so as well. That's the new day here at First Take, and I just want to make sure to remind everybody that's how we're rolling moving forward.
And that's a good thing, Steve. Everywhere you go, everybody wants to get up here and debate. Everywhere you go, every fan, man, I wish he looked bad. And here's the thing, it's okay to look bad, especially with all the new things that we have coming into a football season now. Nobody really has training camp, and nobody really plays in any preseason game. But if you spent the offseason creating a situation like he created the situation, and then you come back in that first game, Stephen A., you cannot play like that. You cannot play like that because it looked like you did not want to play. And some of the mistakes that we've seen that we saw him make yesterday, that we never see Aaron Rodgers make. Aaron Rodgers is so careful with that football, and he was throwing the football around and being a little loose with it. But the whole team played bad, too, now. That defense, I mean, we'll talk about it, but the Saints went up and down the field.
Let me get a bit specific because I want to lean back on you with your football expertise. First of all, let me get something out of the way first. We all know how I feel about Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
He's a bad man.
He's a bad man.
You know how I feel about him. That was the most atrocious performance of his career. He was so awful. He was so awful that embarrassing doesn't even begin to describe. And I'm going to say something that I don't say about too many professional athletes. And I'm certainly not accusing as if I know definitively this is true. I'm just talking about, the optics, how it looked. It looked like he didn't care. He looked like he did not give a damn about how he played or how this outcome ended up being. He looked a bit lackadaisical, a bit laid back. He should have. It was the most shameful performance of Aaron Rodgers' career. To throw the ball, he threw the ball behind Devontae Adebo. I believe that's how he spelled Paulson Adebo. I believe that's how he pronounces his name, okay? Then he flings up the football. He threw it behind Devontae Adams for the first interception, overthrew somebody else when he got intercepted by Marcus Williams, okay? It was, and then to sit up there and to take offense, because that's how it seemed. When he talked about, when Matt LaFleur came back and talked about how embarrassed we were, it was embarrassing because Devontae Adams was on the record in the press conference prior to the game talking about this is the most motivated we may have ever been. We are hyped. We ready to go to season. So we got that issue. But as bad as Aaron Rodgers looked, and it was atrocious, equally as bad is Matt LaFleur. And I'm going to tell you why. The entire team looked ill-prepared. Ill-prepared, number one. And number two, remember, they were a top 10 defense last year.
Yeah.
Top 10 against the pass, top 10 overall. Matt LaFleur replaces Mike Patton as your defensive coordinator. You bring in Joe Barry, who didn't have the greatest resume in Detroit, who didn't have the greatest resume in Washington as a defensive coordinator. Why the hell is he your defensive coordinator? Because their defense didn't look that great either. That's what I'm saying, Mike.
Yeah.
That's what I saw.
There's only so much Matt LaFleur can control now. Now he can try to get a team ready. But what I saw looked like a team that spent all of the whatever training camp they had talking about what went on in the offseason instead of talking about what they need to do this season. And that looked like that was a problem. So I don't know how Matt LaFleur can get in the middle of that if those things are going on in the locker room and he's not in the locker room.
I also want to say, too, that pass rusher was all over him. He didn't have the greatest protection. They couldn't run the ball either. I do agree. He looked atrocious, but I just need to say that in his defense. But I want to come to you on this. Would you say this outcome was more about Rodgers' poor play or how sensational Jameis Winston looked, Michael?
Man, listen, and let's be real. We know that was an anomaly with Aaron Rodgers. That's not something that's going to happen ever with Aaron Rodgers. You know what I mean? He's not going to play that way again. It's the worst thing in the world for a football player to even have those words circling around him that he quit or gave up on his team. So I'm not even worried about that. I know he'll show up. But boy, what Jameis Winston did. Y'all can say what y'all want to say. Stephen A., what he did, and I always say this, folks, that hope will dictate effort. You give me hope, I will give you great effort. You give me no hope, you're human. I don't care who you are, what you do, you will give little effort or less effort. It's just human nature. And what Jameis Winston did was gave a football team, a city, in a region right now that needs hope. He gave them some hope.
He gave them hope. But let's dissect why he did just that. He did just that because the Green Bay Packers were ill-prepared. He did just that because the defensive coordinator clearly didn't have his defense ready. He did just that because we're looking at him and we're saying the last time we saw him as a starting quarterback, he threw 33 interceptions in a season.
2019.
Okay? 30 interceptions, 33. I know it's 30.
33 touchdowns, 30 interceptions.
33 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. That's what we're saying. Yesterday, he did none of them. He didn't throw a single interception. Numbers-wise, we look at it and we say, okay, 5 touchdowns. The man threw for 148 yards. It wasn't for 348 yards, 400-plus yards. It was for 148 yards. What does that tell you? He completed 14 to 20 passes for 5 touchdowns, not a single interception. We appreciate the fact that you're succeeding Drew Brees. You spent the year under him. We watched Sean Payton tutoring you as well. You beat out Taysom Hill because you came into camp with questions as to whether or not Taysom Hill was going to be the starter. And I give credit where credit is due. He didn't make mistakes. And he executed, and he deserves a lot of credit, and he reminded us he is a starting quarterback in this league, and that touchdown pass to Harris was something special. Make no mistake about that. So that was a beautiful thing as well. But in the end, Deontay Harris to be exact, all I'm saying is that in the end, we see Jameis Winston, he's back. The biggest thing to peel from him is there were no interceptions. That's the biggest thing.
Right.
Everything else? Okay.
And it's layup stuff here. This is layup. And I hear what you're saying. You're talking about, I wanted to see the guarded numbers. I wanted to see the big numbers. Jameis Winston gave you that. You talked about 2019. He put up 5,000 yards in 2019. He started his career off throwing back-to-back 4,000-yard seasons. We've seen him go up the field with the ball. We've seen him throw it all around the field. See, what you call an issue and a liability, not throwing the ball deep, I call a great asset because that's what he needs to do right now. He needs to learn how to play the short game. And he played the short game all game. He threw that deep pass in the fourth quarter for a touchdown. He brought everybody up short and beat them deep. That's what I says, wow, this kid can do it. Because before, we thought he was a gunslinger, slinging this thing anywhere and everywhere. But yesterday, he made decisions before he just shot that gun. He was incredible.
He reminded us of his potential. What I'm trying to say to you is that competition matters. And considering how atrocious Green Bay was,
that team was in the NFC.
I'm not talking.
Championship game.
Of course, they were in the NFC championship game.
Right.
They did not. They had seven padded practices, all training camp, Okay, only 2 where the starters participated and what have you. We could sit up there and look at that as a reason, because Keyshawn and I were talking about that this morning. We could look at that as a reason as to why they were ill-prepared. But make no mistake about it, they were ill-prepared. All I'm trying to say to you is that you're playing with house money at the time you threw that touchdown pass. You're looking at Green Bay and how they were playing. They were just god-awful. I want to see what he does in the weeks to come. You passed for 148 yards. You played the short game. I give you credit where credit is due. It's not like I don't believe in him. I don't believe he's a scrub. I know Jameis Winston can play. But, again, you succeed in Drew Brees now. So we're going to see what happens.
We would all like more information all the time. But the key is to make a decision with the information you have. That's what CEOs have to do. That's what you have to do here. I want to hear about what you're going to see for the next 7-8 weeks. We got this information right now. Just 1 week, we got information.
You are not the CEO. Certainly not here.
Oh, well,
understand it's one game.
I'm the CEO of Michael Irvin Media, just like you. And we got to make decisions on 1 week. And the decision we making right now is what Jameis Winston has done is incredible.
You mentioned Drew Brees, and I thought it was really funny last night on NBC when he was saying that the deep ball's back. You know, like making fun of himself essentially because he couldn't throw it. And we were able to see that with Jameis. But Jameis saying that he was most proud of the fact when he did throw it away and he took care of the football, not the touchdowns that he made. And that's really what we wanted to see from him.
It was an incredible change in terms for Jameis. I was happy to see it.
For sure. All right, more games to get to. It went. Yeah, the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes specifically, 11-0 in September, 35 pass defense. Michael, are you encouraged or discouraged by Cleveland's loss?
Listen, and when I say discouraged, understand the sense in which I say discouraged. Like, these dudes played almost a perfect game. They played a perfect game for the talent they have on the football field right now. They thought last year, if we wouldn't have made that fumble, we would have won. If Rashad Higgins don't make that fumble over the goal line, maybe we win that game. They had a shot. They played the perfect game. They didn't punt the ball to the fourth quarter. Until the fourth quarter. They were able to run the ball. Baker Mayfield threw for over 300 yards. They played the perfect game and still earned that L. That right there says, wow. And I'm going to tell you this, and I can tell all the people in Cleveland right now, you will never beat the Kansas City Chiefs without Odell Beckham Jr. You will never beat him. And that told me it showed up yesterday. You're going to have the ability to make some explosive plays. Okay, and that's what happened. They running the ball, they're scoring. They kept them to 10 points in the first half. 10 points. They scored 23 in the second half because sooner or later the dam broke. You kept Patrick Mahomes down, but then sooner or later you found Tyreek Hill on a big play. It's just too dynamic of an offense. You will never beat Kansas City without the dynamic play of an Odell Beckham Jr. or somebody like Odell Beckham Jr.
Michael Irvin. Is Odell Beckham Jr. expected back this season?
Yes, he is.
Then what the hell are you worried about? That is just a ridiculous take that you just gave. Let me explain. You just finished talking about, listen.
Go ahead.
Without Odell Beckham Jr.
Right.
Fresh off an AFC divisional playoff game in which they lost by 5 points, 22-17.
Correct.
The Cleveland Browns show up against Patrick Mahomes, against Tyreek Hill, against Travis Kelce and the crew, with Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy still coaching as head coach and offensive coordinator, respectively. And what do? It's a 4-point game. They have the ball, and Baker Mayfield made a foolish throw, trying to throw the ball out of bounds, got his legs tied up, couldn't get it, got the ball intercepted. Right. That was the lone mistake pretty much he made. There was a couple of throws. He got to make a couple of throws. There was a couple of throws that he missed. One he underthrew late in the fourth quarter. That was crucial, and I get all of that. But for the most part, when we look at how he played, and we look at Nick Chubb, who, by the way, fumbled, and he normally doesn't do that, both him and Kareem Hunt averaged 5.5 yards a carry, okay? Y'all were in this game in position to possibly win this game on the final possession. And you're going to sit here and use the word discouraged. Let me tell you something. You getting caught up in the sauce of the Cleveland Browns, and everybody talking about or acting like they're champions. This is a team, a franchise that's been moribund for quite some time, came back to relevancy last year. Andrew Berry doing a great job as an executive. You got Kevin Stefanski doing a great job as a head coach, coaching Baker Mayfield, and all of this stuff is happening where you're in the mix. but you don't have Odell Beckham Jr. I'm telling you, there's a reason to be encouraged because once Odell Beckham Jr. gets back, you might have a better chance. Now, you know me. I'm picking the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm rolling with my Steelers, which we will get into later. But my point is, yesterday, you talk about, and I do believe Michael Irvin did say, it's about the evidence that is placed before you now. And the evidence that is placed before you now says the Cleveland Browns are a legitimate bona fide threat because of what we saw and who we saw them do it against. And you can't say discouraged. Even I can't be discouraged by what I saw from them. No, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Listen to me. When you a bona fide threat to do what? To come out of the a bona fide threat to do better than what Cleveland. No. What you just said was, look at where Cleveland's been. And right now, why would you be discouraged? Because you're measuring it off where Cleveland's been. And the fact that they are even in this game should be a good thing for them. Now, I'm saying, no. They want to win a championship, right? They don't want to just be in this game. They want to win a championship. And you're not going to beat Kansas City.
Without Odell.
But
Odell is going to be back.
Playmaker on that football team.
But Odell is going to be back.
Yeah. No doubt he's coming back. But I'm telling you, they got to integrate him back into that offense. Why do you think Tennessee, when they got Julio Jones? Because they done went in there and tried to run and beat Kansas City. And he can't do it. You got to be able to make explosive plays to match them. And winning games, Cleveland, that's one thing. Winning championship, that's another. That's what they're going for. And I'm telling you, they have to be discouraged until they get that dude back.
The Kansas City Chiefs are the reigning two-time AFC champion.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And I'm saying to you, if Odell Beckham Jr. is in the game, all right, according to you, you're like, listen, this is what This is what it takes to beat them.
On the road,
so my point is, why would I be discouraged if I know all I got to do is get my playmaker back and he's due back next week?
Because you've been walking around sipping the Kool-Aid that everybody kept talking about even last year when they were saying, well, we really don't need Odell. We can get him. So you walked around and you thought you were ready. You went in, and when Rashard Higgins fumbled last year, you said, even if he wouldn't have fumbled, we had him. We'll get him next time. And you got him this time, and the same thing happened. That's why you will be discouraged.
I'm telling you,
because you were wrong in your assessment.
First of all, you got the wrong dude, because that certainly wasn't me, because I've been riding Pittsburgh all day, every day, and I was sitting there telling people to pump the brake because you had a quarterback that had more commercials with Progressive than he did wins until last season when he won 11 games. This go round,
you can't make this about Cleveland and Pittsburgh.
I'm looking at Cleveland, and I'm saying, yo, they a big-time team. I give them their respect.
Right.
I believe based off of what I saw yesterday, they got a big-time chance to come out of the AFC. I can't ignore that. Right. That's what I'm saying.
And I agree they need OBJ, but
play the perfect game and walk away with a loss right there. That was.
Well, clearly it wasn't perfect if Baker Mayfield threw the interception.
It was a perfect game by what their ability allows them to play right now. Is what I'm saying. Without that,
I hope there's chemistry with Odell and Baker, because that's been an issue in the past.
Well, see, that's what it don't matter. You got to make it happen, because that's what I'm saying. Now you know, no matter what, it ain't your choice. It's your force. You have to force it to happen. Period.
All right.
That's what I'm saying.
Come on First Take. Michael's Cal.
You're right. Just him. If you want to talk defensively, Chandler Jones, 5 sacks. It is what it is. But we got to get to the Tennessee Titans. I don't know how you can walk away not really putting an eye on how disappointing Tennessee was. This is a team that everybody looked at coming out of the AFC South. You got Ryan Tannehill. You got Derrick Henry. You still got A.J. Brown. You picked up Julio Jones. He gives you about 3 receptions for 29 yards. I think, what did A.J. Brown have, like 4 receptions, like 49 yards or something along that run? So you weren't running the football effectively. You damn sure wasn't passing the football effectively. You certainly wasn't protecting Ryan Tannehill effectively enough. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you got this miniature dynamo in Kyler Murray, who's just, he's cat quick. He was making defenders look silly. We get all of that. All I'm saying is that when we look at Arizona, maybe we're underestimating them a little bit. I have an appreciation for what they're bringing to the table. Please don't get me wrong. When I look at the NFC West, obviously it's toughest division: San Francisco, LA, Seattle, and now Arizona. But what I walked away feeling was like, damn, I expected better than this from Tennessee. Maybe you would have lost, but to look like you got pumped, beat up, giving up 5 sacks like that to one individual, can't run the football, can't throw the football. I did not expect all of that to happen to Tennessee, and that's why.
Well, you were wrong because you believed in Ryan Tannehill. I can end that with that right there.
Yeah, you're wrong. And you're right, which is disappointing because I had this whole plan to come on and be like, wait, I grew up watching Michael Irvin ball, but I was going to be like, and I respect you, but now you're in a little bit of the world dominance, so I was throwing haymakers.
So we're brothers now, right?
You're wrong.
We're brotherhood.
We're right.
Go ahead. Let's get it on. Let's get it on.
This is why.
Go ahead.
I walked away from that game going, man, Arizona doesn't look like a playoff team. They look like a team that can win a Super Bowl.
Okay.
They look like a championship team because if we look at the teams and go, who or what do you need to be a Super Bowl winning football team? You better have a quarterback that's special. Well, year 3 for Kyler Murray looks like the start of year 3 for Josh Allen last year.
Okay.
Special. You got to have a defense that could be opportunistic. They don't got to be dominant, but opportunistic.
Get to the quarterback.
Chandler Jones
get to the quarterback.
Dominant and opportunistic. You got to have pieces, right?
Okay.
DeAndre Hopkins balled out. Christian Kirk gets the and that was domination. And I will go back to it. Remember when Lamar bursted onto the scene and we're like, this team looks different.
Right.
It looked like that. Remember Josh Allen, week 1? I went on television in week 1 last year and said Josh Allen's going to be in the MVP conversation. Kyler Murray's going to be in the MVP conversation.
And you have domination in this league a couple ways. Now, you can have it with a big running back like Derrick Henry, and you dominate, or you can have it with, I don't know what this dude gonna hit us with, and you don't know what Kyler Murray can hit you with, and that gives him an incredible upper hand.
Whoa. There's no disputing that. I'm not arguing that. Are you two sitting here with a straight face on national television in front of the camera? You're telling me that with Julio Jones and A.J. Brown, y'all had no expectations from their passing game?
I had no expectations. I expected regression.
I want to see what you're going to say. Why do you expect
I think there's because knowing offense and calling plays are a different world. You know this, right? A lot of great coaches can't call plays. A lot of great coaches.
Why not tell the truth here? Why not say you expect regression? Because it's Ryan Tannehill, and we've hidden him with Derrick Henry. And now you give him these two beasts out here where he has to drop back and make some real plays. And you say, I don't know if I can see this.
It's also this.
Let's call it like it is. That's really what it is.
It's also this. They didn't get to play their style of football, Stephen A. Tennessee wants to come out, throw the ball, get the lead, and then run the football. When Kyler went bombs, and took the lead quickly, Chandler Jones sacked. Game's over. They can't play their style.
Wait. You know as well as I do, there's been plenty of instances over the years with Rabel as a coach, with Ryan Tannehill there, with Derrick Henry in the backfield, where they didn't have a lead, and they just methodically went about the business of beating you down. That's happened with Tennessee over the last couple of years.
Way less than you think.
No, I'm not saying it does. I'm not saying that most of the time it happens. I'm saying it happened enough where we know. We can't look at it and go like this. Well, they expected to get a lead against Arizona, but then all of a sudden they got it and they hit the panic button. That's not who they are.
I'll ask you this.
I don't necessarily agree with Dan either on them coming out, zip, and running up. No. They come out and you think you're not thinking pass. You're thinking run first, and then you get opportunities to make a play.
I got to ask you this. All right, I know Henry couldn't do anything, and obviously they couldn't touch Kyler Murray. But Dan, going back to them potentially being in a Super Bowl, if Arizona gets in, who doesn't get in?
From the NFC West?
In the playoffs.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, you meant playoffs.
Yeah.
Super Bowl. Sorry.
No, you're saying
San
they're more than a
Francisco.
playoff team, they're a Super Bowl team.
San Francisco, with the way their defense kind of let up that lead against the Lions yesterday, Jimmy Garoppolo played well yesterday. I still want to see Jimmy Garoppolo play consistently well, not give the football away. All I'm saying is I would be less surprised if the Arizona Cardinals are a month from now are 4-0 than I would be if the Tennessee Titans were a 2-2 football team. I'd be less surprised. Because I was that impressed by their performance yesterday.
I got to think about that. You might be right about that. I got to think about that because I'm looking at, listen, Kingsbury's had enough time, that's for sure, to get his, because you know me, I've never thought he deserved the job.
Right.
No knock against him and the job he's doing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that he didn't get, to me, he never deserved the job. Kyler Murray being there, doing what he's been doing just as a freak athlete and being able to be the dual threat that he is because the brother can throw and he can run with the football. And it would be nice to see them on the same page this year. And certainly you got the weapons now because you got A.J. Green up in there. You've got DeAndre Hopkins up there. You've got Kirk there. You got a whole bunch of weapons. So they really, you got J.J. Watt there now with Chandler Jones and the crew. There's really no excuse. This is the year for Arizona. I get all of that. I'm not talking about them winning the game.
Right.
I'm talking about the dominance in which they won the game. I certainly expected better from the Tennessee Titans. Y'all did too. Y'all didn't expect them to get shellacked like that.
Yeah. You went a little too far with the San Francisco team. They're not interference. Don't worry about it. You're doing good, though. Keep working. You're doing good. You're doing good. You're
really
a little too far
breaking
with
things
that.
down.
I'm just saying, you look too far with that.
By the way, Mike Irvin got some grip on him now. He ain't trying to whisper in my hand. I feel like I'm getting gripped up.
So we're not going to have Michael Irvin on the show and not talk about Dallas. Despite a monster game from Dak Prescott on Thursday night, the Bucs prevail at home 31-29. Michael Irvin, I need some eye contact, sir.
Yes,
what happened to your Cowboys?
What do you mean asking me that kind of a question? What happened to my Cowboys? My Cowboys went in and played the champions and played a championship game. And boy, you can't, Stephen A., you were wrong. You were wrong. Well, you're not wrong. You sat right here. You said, oh, Zach Martin, doesn't matter that he's out. They are about to get blown out. It doesn't matter who you are.
I never said blown out.
You did. You said Dallas was going to get killed.
I never said blown out.
Nothing mattered.
I said they were going to lose.
Oh, no. You
And
didn't.
they lost.
Come on, man. Come on. You can't rob the Cowboys of that performance.
Really?
It was an incredible performance. I talked about this. We talked about what we wanted from week one. Everybody wanted information. We got information. That was an incredible performance by the Dallas Cowboys. You're worried about that defense. And the defense, they gave up 30 points, over 30 points. But, man, they got some turnovers. That was Tom Brady. And I'm going to tell you something now. Tampa looked great. It wasn't like they stumbled up like you're talking about these other teams and caught Green Bay bad or caught Tennessee bad. Oh, they caught Tampa good and they put it on Tampa good. I know. I wanted to call you so bad with a minute and a half left. I had my finger on the button. I was just waiting.
But you were smarter than that.
Oh, my God. I said,
but you did it.
I saw Tom Brady sitting on the sideline. You know how he always sitting on the sideline like he ain't paying attention. I just want to thump him in his head. He's just paying like he ain't paying attention. No, darn well he's paying attention to everything. And I said, oh, please don't give him no time on the clock. But I'm going to tell you this. And you got it, man. I don't care where you are in your heart and how you feel about the star on the side of the helmet. You had to have a leap in your heart when you saw Dak Prescott. He put on the greatest performance that you've ever seen from a quarterback coming back off of major injury like he did. Facing the circumstances and the challenges. It's the greatest performance you've ever seen.
Was your heart fluttering when that happened?
Oh, my God, did you not see that?
Was it a little pitter-patter?
Honestly, did you not sit back and say, oh, my God, this dude looks incredible?
I did, but Ezekiel Elliott, I was like, what's going on?
But that was the number one run defense, you know. That was number one run defense last year. They're great at stopping the run. And we talked about the number one, the highest graded guard by Pro Football Weekly wasn't even in the game. That's the highest graded guard since 2016. What Zach Martin wasn't even in the game. So, yeah, it was going to be tough running. But they were able to turn to that short passing game, and the way Dak Prescott played, I know all that time away, and I've been there. I know when you go through that kind of thing where you're out and you're away from your team, you go through stuff mentally, and I went through stuff mentally. It took me to a dark place, and I wondered where would it take Dak, and I saw it right in the midst of that game. You saw how much better he's playing pre-snap and shoulders up, getting the ball out of his hands in 2.3 seconds. Faster than even Tom Brady. It was incredible.
Step back was a setup for a comeback, Stephen A. You know what it is.
You are comical.
What do you mean?
It's hilarious. Let's first of all.
That was a great performance, Stephen. I don't know. You can't even mess with that.
Listen. First of all, Dak Prescott put forth a great performance. Props to him. I got that. His brother, his sensitive self. Everybody dogging my brother. They're not dogging your brother. Everybody loves Dak Prescott, man. We know he's great. We know he's going to be greater. We understand that. But here's my question, Michael Irvin, because there's a couple of things I want to point out that. First of all, CeeDee Lamb was targeted 15 times. He got 7 receptions. I ain't going to count the drops. I couldn't do that, but I ain't going to do that to you, right? By the way, did you remember that you actually have a running back in Ezekiel Elliott? Or did y'all just forget? Did y'all just forget? Why is Dak Prescott throwing the football 58 times? Okay, let me get to the defensive side of the ball. Let me get, by the way, the Zach Martin thing. I understand that Zach Martin's out, but now La'el Collins, I mean, you know, he's been suspended for 5 games, but we won't go there. There's always something. There's always something, okay? What did I say? What do I always say, Molly, about the Cowboys? Just wait. Take your time. Somehow, some way, they won't let you down. There's always something. So your guard was down. Now your right tackle's out, but that's neither here nor there. Right? Let's get to the defensive side of the ball, okay? We saw Tom Brady and them coming. Now, you weren't foolish like Swagoo, a.k.a. Marcus Spears.
What did he say?
FaceTimed me when Tampa Bay scored. And I went like this. There's a minute and 24 seconds left on the clock.
Tom Brady's on the field.
I said Tom Brady. Tom Brady. All he needs is a field goal. I said, what you do? And then sure enough.
Good impulse control by you, Michael.
When I sat up there and when Tom Brady and them won it, I said, and suck up, hit the field goal to win it all. What did I do? Why? Because, listen, what I try to tell you this, the Cowboys, they look good, man. They look beautiful throwing the football. Whenever they choose to run the football, Ezekiel Elliott is still back there, okay? And it's beautiful that you picked up Micah Parsons, and you got Leighton Vander Esch out there, and you got DeMarcus Lawrence back there. And I get it. Your secondary is still suspect, but that's neither here nor there. In the end, what it comes down to is this. Quinn is your defensive coordinator. They ain't playing the 3-4 anymore. They back to their Tampa 2. We get all of this stuff. In the end, what happens is the Cowboys find a way to get the L. And you can sit up there and say all you want to say, Michael. All you want to say. All I know is this. Thursday night, post-game, there was fireworks. There was confetti. Yeah. There was a whole bunch of people out there in Tampa. And they were like, yo, we handled our business. And the Cowboys went home with an L. That is the reality of the situation. And just take your time. I'm going to wait. Because we know eventually they keep telling us it's coming.
If it was only a 1-game season,
right.
I can bite into this pie you serve.
That's right.
But it's not a 1-game season. And if it was another team, some other team. Season. But this is the champion. These were the champions. Really? They went back into the Lions' den where the champion had just won their Super Bowl. They faced that defense that you talked about so great over defense. That went up and down the field with that defense. Oh, the defense, same defense that took out Patrick Mahomes. He drove them up and down the field. Like 5 of his days he made drives. Scored every time.
Are you going to conveniently forget Whitehead didn't play, Bunton separated his elbow, okay? So you were already, your secondary was already decimated against one of the elite passing attacks in football. You just gonna forget that about Tampa Bay? That they had injuries? You just gonna forget that?
But you're gonna talk about the run game and forget that Zach Martin ain't in the game. Yes, I'm gonna forget that. I'm gonna talk about the results of the game. That's what I'm gonna talk about.
But Stephen A, can I say one thing? How come you can give the Browns props for what they did against the Chiefs, but not the Cowboys for what they did against the Bucks?
Because the Cowboys have a history. And the history.
Do you want to leave? Michael, why don't you get snack? Leave.
Can we make this proclamation now that we have current information? Can we let all that old data go? Because Cowboys not winning a Super Bowl in the year 2000 won't have anything to do with what's going on in 2021. Okay, but game one.
May I answer that? I would grant you your wish if we were just talking about Super Bowl. I recall 3 years in a row when the Dallas Cowboys went 8-8 back to back and lost the last game of the regular season with a division crown on the line. Hold on. I got more. I recall, suspensions coming about. I recall injuries coming about at the wrong time, and I don't knock them for that. I recall them. Mike McCarthy gets the job last year. This man is talking about they're going to be so fly and so far. Yeah. Mike McCarthy goes up and hires. I mean, he hired the defense coordinator, Mike Nolan. This is last year. Hired the defense coordinator, Mike Nolan, who last time we saw him, he was in Atlanta with their horrible defense in 2014. He was so bad, nobody would hire him for 6 years, but Mike McCarthy hires him. I'm just saying that every
this time he got the right guy from Atlanta.
Listen. Every single time we look at the Cowboys, all right, something happens for them to get in their own way. So my point is, my argument is consistent.
They beat themselves.
They beat them. Now, if they were just losing the better team, if they were losing the better team, if they were losing the better team, I wouldn't say nothing. But the point is, the Dallas Cowboys, if they're going to lose to Tampa Bay one day. All right, they're going to come and lose to the Eagles, even though the Eagles look good. They're going to lose to the Eagles another. It's who they are. It's just wait. Just wait.
If they are who they are, who we saw Thursday night, you just wait, because they will be in so far.
Okay.
And let me answer this right there. Leo Collins being out, that's okay, because we can move Zach to tackle. Really? And with Dak getting rid of the ball in 2.3 seconds, you can make it work on the inside for a few games. Don't expect that to be a big problem.
I will remind you, I was looking for Michael Irvin for about 3 months last year. Couldn't find him.
Oh, I'm right here.
He's here now.
Oh,
Every
I'm right
Monday.
here. And
all
the
right,
Cowboys are right
we gotta go. I'll leave you with this.
What they look
the
like.
only team in the NFC East to win this week, that would be the Eagles, who nobody predicted. Once upon a time, Aaron Rodgers.
You have to understand, I mean what I say. And I got a lot of love for Aaron Rodgers or Michael Irvin. I mean, I love this guy. I've had the pleasure of meeting him a few times over the years. I think that from a talent perspective, until Patrick Mahomes came along, he's the greatest talent at the quarterback position my two eyes have ever seen in my life. I think he's that gifted. And I think that a lot of times he didn't receive the support that he needed from the Green Bay Packers. And I felt that they didn't show him the respect that he richly deserved, and that's why he wanted out. Having said that, when you make all of that noise, even though they ended up keeping you and making you stay, and it's clear that you don't want to be there, but when you line up between those lines and you get ready to play ball, you got to be ready. And it would be one thing if I saw an Aaron Rodgers that was rusty and just wasn't ready. I'm just telling you, I'm not accusing him of anything because I don't know. I'm only going by what I saw on television yesterday. He looked like he did not care. He looked disinterested. He didn't look focused. I have never seen Aaron Rodgers on his worst day look that atrocious. The decision makings was just foolhardy. They were decisions that rookies make, not somebody like him, who's I mean, there's countless years on his resume, playmaker, where he's never even thrown double-digit interceptions.
Yeah.
There's only a couple of times or 3 times in his career he's thrown multiple interceptions. Right. This is not what he does, and so to look as lethargic and as apathetic as he looked was alarming in and of itself. But then for Matt LaFleur, who just seemed ill-prepared and in over his head yesterday, completely and thoroughly outcoached, all right? And that was bad enough. But at least he admitted it by saying it was embarrassing. Aaron Rodgers seemed as if he was taking offense to how his coach classified and categorized yesterday's butt whipping, when everybody and their grandmama knows that Matt LaFleur told the absolute truth in the aftermath of that butt whipping they took at the hands of the New Orleans Saints. And so for me, I'm just looking at it is just one game. He's absolutely right. And I certainly don't expect it again. My issue is never in my wildest dreams that I expect that I would have ever seen Aaron Rodgers play like that. Yeah. It was that bad.
Yeah, and for me, what I was reminded of even watching that is, when you mess up, you can't make somebody forgive you. You got to wait till they say they forgive you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you're the one messed up. You did this, right? So when Aaron Rodgers said relax, it was because everybody wasn't playing bad. Relax. Okay, I can listen to you then. I'll listen in. Oh, relax. Okay, relax. But when he's saying here, it's one game. No. This is on you. No, it's just one game. You started this. Because this football team to me, I don't care what this team was not thinking about playing this season. They had spent the whole offseason and spent the time in camp talking about what has happened this offseason. And it's still an issue in that locker room. And that's why, Stephen A., I tried to push back on you putting it on LaFleur. If this thing is in the locker room and these guys are talking, I mean, they're talking against everything that's going on. You know.
So are you concerned more than just this week, even moving forward for this team? Because obviously it's what you saw on the field, but it sounds like it's in the locker room as well.
Right. And the issue is, can we root out that virus out our computer before that next game, and show back up and start playing football and move all that stuff out?
My question to you,
because we know they have talent.
My question to you would be this: Matt LaFleur don't play. Ain't it his damn job to weed out that virus? That's his job. What the hell else do you do? You ain't catching no touchdowns. You ain't running. You ain't blocking for nobody. You're not sacking nobody. That's your job.
I will say okay to you if it was someone else. When I walked in late for a meeting, I had a guy with me. He was returning kickoffs, and he was a great kickoff returner. Jimmy looked at me and he said, "I'm so disappointed in you, Michael. Get in there and sit down." And he looked right at the other guy and he said, "You get your stuff and get out of here." It depends on where that virus is, if you can get rid of the virus right away. And if it's starting with the quarterback, you can't get rid of it.
But I guess what I'm saying to you is, you started off your argument by talking about the team. I'm agreeing with you about Aaron Rodgers, meaning that if that's where it is, you can't get rid of that brother just now. You got to get that straight. And I understand that. But part of it getting straight, in my humble opinion, when you think about Matt LaFleur, listen, whatever's going on with Brian Gutekunst and Aaron Rodgers, Mark Murphy and Aaron Rodgers, who runs the franchise, that shouldn't be you if you're Matt LaFleur. You shouldn't be perceived, because I've been told he's been perceived as a guy that passes the buck, that it's always somebody else's fault as opposed to his own. And that's one of the things that's a turn off about him, because he'll point, and Mike Pett being gone, you're a top 10 defensive coordinator. You got the top 10 defense last year, and all of a sudden he's gone for who? Who's this guy, Joe Barry from Washington and Detroit from years ago? Why him? Why? Because y'all buddies? Yeah. What the hell is that about? To me, I'm looking at that and I'm saying, what is this? What's going on here? Because collectively, they looked awful. It's just that Aaron Rodgers, oh my God.
But why just Aaron Rodgers, Stephen A? Because they couldn't run the ball and he wasn't being protected well. So Molly, why not on other parts of the team?
Molly, he looked so bad. And the Aaron Rodgers that I've watched for years, those 2 interceptions don't happen. He'll get sacked. Yeah. He'll get sacked. Those 2 interceptions don't happen.
Or get rid of the ball.
Get rid of the ball.
Or the Rams on Sunday Night Football.
Well, it was interesting to watch the Rams because, I'm like everybody else. I wanted to see what Stafford does with Sean McVay in that offense, and seeing those guys get up the field is one thing. But what was interesting to me really was watching the Chicago Bears, because I heard all along that, okay, Andy Dalton was promised the opportunity to start. And he did start, but they put that young guy in fast. And they got him in fast. And so when I started watching, I know he only threw 2 passes yesterday.
And ran for a touchdown.
But he ran for a touchdown, and you saw his feet. And then I saw Jason Peters. I saw the tackle get hurt. Then I saw the backup tackle that came in got hurt. And I started saying, wow, how much longer is it going to be before they say we need all the help we can on this offense, so we need this kid's legs to get him back in a football game. Next week, they'll play the Bengals. And then they'll play Cleveland. Now, the rest of the whole division, Green Bay, Minnesota, Detroit, they're all losing, so that gives you a little farther run. If they continue to lose, that you keep trying to see what you can do with Andy Dalton, because you'll be in the race a little bit longer. But I'm like the rest of Chicago. And when I was in L.A., I saw a lot of Chicago fans because they were coming for that game. And I'm like the rest of them right now. I'm ready to see that kid play. I mean, I've seen one game of Andy Dalton. I don't know how many more games he'll go. But I'm ready to see what that young kid can do, because he has some dynamicness to his game that I think with that defense that they can give him a spark, and who knows what could happen.
I'm not interested in the Chicago Bears. They don't interest me. I don't think that Pace and Nagy are the guys for that job. That's just how I am with them when it comes to them. I think they're interesting by default. Their offensive line is suspect, so I don't blame them for trying to protect Justin Fields. They got to get Justin Fields because they stupidly passed on Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes to move up in the draft years ago to get Mitchell Trubisky, and that's the kind of decision that it takes you decades to recover from, that level of stupidity, all right? That's number 2, because Deshaun Watson was coming off a national championship. You know what I'm saying? And Mitchell Trubisky was at North Carolina. I mean, no disrespect to their football program. I'm wishing Mac Brown the best, but damn, here's this deal. When I look at Chicago, they'll be interesting because it's by default, the division. Questions about Green Bay, questions about Minnesota, Kirk Cousins not being COVID, vaccinated and stuff like that. And the Lions, I mean, please, we ain't expecting nothing from them, okay? The story to me is the Los Angeles Rams. Let's take into account the backdrop. Damn, that's a beautiful stadium.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
I'm excited. I'm excited for Super Bowl.
SoFi is so fly. I give you that. You had the line when you came on Stephen A's World and you talked about that. It's true. That stadium, just looking at it, it's spectacular.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's their home. I don't know why the Chargers did. They need to go back to San Diego personally, but that's their home, okay? So you go there, you know the Super Bowl's going to be there. And then you look at their crew. Defensively, they're not good. This is elite. This is Aaron Donald. This is Justin Hollins, who had a couple of sacks last night. This is Jalen Ramsey, who changed his number. I mean, this is all. I mean, they got a crew of dudes on the defensive side of the ball. And offensively, what were we waiting to see? Matthew Stafford. We know what he could do, but he was in Detroit. Now he's here in Los Angeles. 321 yards passing, 20 of 26, 3 TDs, not a single interception. Okay, I'm looking at a guy.
Went up the field with that
I'm looking at a guy, Cooper Kupp, 108 receiving yards, a 56-yard catch. I'm looking at Van Jefferson, a 67-yard catch, okay? So you can throw the football. You can certainly run the football with Darrell Henderson because he's no joke. Plus, you acquired Sony Michel from New England. And so I'm looking at it from that perspective. And then last but not least, this is incredibly important. Sean McVay didn't trade Jared Goff because Jared Goff doesn't have talent. He traded him because they weren't on the same page. Apparently, there was a personality clash in terms of his willingness to listen to what he was being. I don't know this. I don't cover the Rams. It's according to the reports that they were clashing with one another. What did you see? Michelle Tafoya asked last night, talked about them being on the same page, communicating with each other every single day, having a blast, raving about their relationship and the chemistry and the camaraderie with each other. You got to have that between your quarterback and the head coach if the head coach is considered an offensive guru. You got to have that. That appears to be what they have. And so that combined with the NFC West, seeing Arizona coming, knowing San Francisco is still relevant, and Seattle, that to me makes the Rams the story of this game.
You got to have it if you're a young quarterback, that connection. We just talked about Aaron Rodgers, and I don't know what kind of relationship he has with his head coach right now. And the last couple of years, it has worked great over there. Now on this side, and you're absolutely right in this sense, I mean, Jared Goff had 42 wins since 2016. He's tied for second most in the NFL.
Right.
42 wins, and they still say, get out. Right. You know what I'm saying? Get out. Right. We want somebody to take us to the next level.
Because they're saying it was because of him. They were saying it was because of their defense.
Lions hung tough yesterday.
And also, they were also talking about the coach having to control everything and wanting a quarterback that can take that step and make those calls.
He wanted a quarterback he believes in.
Do that.
He wanted to believe in the guy that he would defer to.
Well,
I can understand that.
And Chicago wants a quarterback they can believe in. And the dog ain't that quarterback. So I'm glad you gave me that leeway so I can get back to helping my people in Chicago who was begging me yesterday in L.A. Please help us get Justin Fields on the field.
First of all, we all know the people in Chicago were in L.A. because they wanted to get the hell of that windy away from that windy. They wanted to get in the southern. Hey, you been to Chicago in September? It gets cold.
No, but when we were there for the All-Star game, that was real. I was like, I've been to the East Coast my whole life. This is a different deal.
I love Chicago. I'm not having y'all talk about my.
We're not going to panic. It's 16 games left.
Okay, Stephen A., try to be objective here. Just try a little bit. Were we sleeping on the Steelers or actually just overhyping the Bills?
Of course you were sleeping on the Steelers. Of course you were sleeping, especially him because he looked like he woke up and didn't comb his hair well enough. I mean, this is what you're doing. Got the afro and all of that stuff working. And Molly, I know that Molly tried to be slick. See, We're starting this as a football segment.
Yeah.
She didn't have to bring up the Mets because I'm a Yankee fan, especially after what Francisco Lindor did to my Yankees last night, smacking 3 home runs, looking like Reggie Jackson, getting me disgusted with Chad Green. I don't know why that man is in the game for the New York Yankees, but that's neither here nor there. Back to football. Here's the reality of the situation. Tried to tell you about my Steelers. Tried to tell you. Now, offensively, they struggled. Didn't score in the first half, okay? Najee Harris didn't run the football effectively because they couldn't block from him as an offensive line. We knew that was a question mark for the Steelers coming in to the season. They were going to go on the road against a Super Bowl championship contender. Y'all talked about Bills Mafia and all of that. So you know what I saw? I saw Bills Mafia running out of the stadium with their heads down. Damn, we couldn't get it done. Why? Because they were going up against the Steelers after DJ Watt. 2 sacks. There's the same dude got his contract extension last week. What does he do? Goes into the owner's office. I appreciate it. Deal's done. Don't worry.
And then second half, they put up 23 points. You watched in the Tampa Bay game. They kept playing. They kept coming back. Every time Dallas scored, they scored. That's what champions are made of. I did see it out of Buffalo, and I needed Josh Allen to make that next step. He had Stephon Diggs, and he did great things with Stephon Diggs. Now I need him to raise up the rest of the guys around him. I thought he was when Davis caught that touchdown, but they need more help. They scored 6 points in the second half.
Go ahead, I'll chime in, but go ahead.
When can I speak? Because I take notes on the game. So these are my notes for Steelers offense. Quiet first half. 10-6 Buffalo in the fourth. Najee Harris, 45 yards in debut. Steelers first lead in the fourth. Steelers defense, the difference maker in special teams. Are you not a little concerned about your offense?
Not even a little bit.
Oh my God.
You're lying.
Not even a little bit.
Did you see any semblance of order in an offense?
It's a game one. It's game one's first game.
Now it's just one game matters.
Y'all stay with me? Y'all stay with me, please?
Such hypocrisy.
Listen. Don't let me bring up UConn again on you. You know how you hurt your feelings last week. Calm down now. Here's the deal. When you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, I told y'all coming into the season, the defense is going to lead the way early on. That's what happened. Y'all got excited about the Buffalo Bills because we look at Josh Allen. I like Josh Allen. I'm a fan of Josh Allen, okay? But he has 1 year, one good year. They signed him for 6 years, $250 million. That's where y'all want to stop. The first 2 years, he struggled. And I'm saying to you, wait a minute. Last year, bubble play and all of this other stuff, everything going on, COVID-19, all of that stuff. But that still doesn't take away from the year he had. In the end, this year, there's more film. This is the NFL we're talking about here. And when you look at the Steelers defense, which is the top 3 defense in the National Football League with the personnel that they had, they went into Buffalo, hostile confines against an offense. Stephon Diggs, what did he do? This is a guy, 125 receptions, whatever, 1,535 yards receiving. What he did last year.
69 yards yesterday.
He was somewhat neutralized to some degree. Okay, all I'm trying to say to y'all is that in the end, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who everybody's counting out, because y'all got the Buffalo Bills, y'all got the Cleveland Browns, y'all got Miami, y'all got Baltimore, y'all got all of these teams. All I said was, y'all must have forgot. You better not. Steelers going to be there. Because they always are.
Got to put up more points.
Stephen,
they will.
They have no way of moving a football right now, Stephen. And the plays they made, they were not direct plays. They were not like, oh, that's exactly what we called. And they were like, hell there.
So as
Chase Claypool makes some great plays down there. That means we're overhyping them as Super Bowl contenders.
And I'm saying,
thank you for proving my point.
And I'm saying you're not giving enough love and respect to the greatness of the Steelers defense. That's what I'm saying.
I saw that.
Stephen A, the defense was great, but it was a very safe offense. So I don't know how they're going to put up points with some of those other AFC teams.
I saw them go 1-4 in the last 5 games last year. I know that.
Let's move on. All he's going to do is keep talking about the defense.
It's new material. It's new material. It's not. It's about now. Last year was last year.
Last year was last year. Now you want to be in the new material.
Last year you had
fade on the side. You had a clean cut. You didn't even have your afro last year.
Now you want to go.
You got the afro with the slope now. Last year you had the fade.
Hold on. But when we talked about the Cowboys, it was like, 8-8. Bring it back. We were going on the path with your Steelers. Oh, it's a new day. It's a new day.
It ain't no new day with the Cowboys. It's the same old, same old. I got 25 years after this. I got 25 years after this.
It'll be the same old this year.
Okay, we'll see.
If they make the playoffs. It may not be the same old.
Oh, they make the playoffs. They make the playoffs. They win in the division, and they make it the playoffs.
I love Tomlin. God knows
it was same old for my New York Football Giants. That's true. All right, well, right hit Fitzpatrick's status for Thursday night's game. versus my Giants is uncertain. Stephen A. Should Washington call Cam? Obviously, he was with Ron Rivera 9 years.
Michael Irvin, I'm going to say this, man. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they call Cam Newton. I think they should call Cam Newton. Even though Heineke showed some good ability in the playoffs against Tampa Bay and Tom Brady last year, and then he did some good things yesterday as well. He's got some potential. Here's what I would say. There's no other way for me to look at this. If Cam Newton doesn't get a call by the Washington football team, I think his career is close to over. There's no other way to look at it. Ron Rivera coached him for 9 years. If you don't want Cam Newton on your squad, considering how debilitated you are at the quarterback position, what are you saying? And what is that going to say to other coaches who should consider Cam Newton coming on board? There's a whole bunch of things to peel from that. Listen, I believe in Cam. And I believe as a talent that Cam, I don't know if there's 32 guys better than him. But the reality is that as of right now, 32 teams have a starting quarterback. Not a single one of them names Cam Newton. That's the reality. You can do interviews with your dad all you want to, and do it on YouTube and put it out there and all that stuff. That don't change the reality. The reality is that Carolina was willing to let you go. When you were available, almost no one wanted to pick you up. Then New England finally decided to do so. Last year, albeit due to COVID and a lot of other things that transpired, you had a non-impressive season, 8 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, even though you completed about 65% of your passes. And then this year, you got beat out by a rookie that was a national champion, a rookie that completed 77% of his passes to 41 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions, in winning a national title with Alabama. But nevertheless, a rookie beat you out. And it wasn't 4 or 5 games into the season where there was some track record of regular season performances to fall back on that led to Bill Belichick and them making a decision. They started the season out with a rookie rather than you. Talking to your daddy on YouTube ain't going to gloss over that. And that's all I'm trying to say. Listen, I love Cam. I really, really do. Stud athlete, the whole bit. He's a winner. I get all of that. But the point is, you look at it, if Ron Rivera doesn't take Cam Newton, what they're saying is that, even he don't want you. Cam Newton, if he don't get picked up by Washington, his career is in trouble.
Point. But who are they better off winning with? Is it Cam or is it Heineke? What would you do, Michael?
I would have to take a long look at bringing Cam in. But here's the situation, guys, that we need to bring up. They were together in Carolina. But that wasn't always smooth and all rosy. You know what I mean? They had some clashes in Carolina, and I'm telling you right now, no one hold grudges like coaches. Especially when you're the cause for one coach losing the job, it'll be hard for those guys to let that go and bring you in. That being said, if I'm Washington, I have to bring in Cam Newton right now. I'm looking around at the division and say we still have a shot. We won with this defense last year. I have to consider bringing in Cam Newton. I would have to bring him in and talk to him if I'm Coach Rivera, because Cam's a different dude now than he was when he was first at Carolina. That young dude who's trying to find his way. He's made his way in the league, made some good money in the league, had some great success in the league. Shouldn't have those battles with himself that he'll be falling out with the coach and be in a different place. And I would have to consider bringing him in right now.
I don't believe, Michael Irvin, Molly, that anybody can look at Cam and say he can't play.
Right.
Nobody. We couldn't do that to him.
Yeah.
He's too gifted. We can't do that to him. So if Washington doesn't even want to call him to come in, correct me if I'm wrong, the industry that is the National Football League, the coaching industry, they're going to go like this. Why ain't they call him? What the hell going on with that? And if you remember, everybody believes Bill Belichick was lying when Bill Belichick said, COVID had nothing to do with it or whatever. Why is COVID relevant? COVID's relevant because my man Michael Irvin. My man Michael Irvin went on and he said, quote, Michael Irvin said it ain't about right wing, it ain't about left wing, it's about the ring. And so Bill Belichick sees that you didn't get vaccinated. It compromised your availability. Yep. The quarterback has to be reliable All of those things play in a row.
You're so right. And I was remiss not to mention that.
CEO.
Yes, because obviously 10 days. And if he was going to be a backup, that's a problem. All right, guys. Because
he got to Miami, they've given New England a run for their money. It's been really tough, stiff competition. And so when I look at it from that perspective, and this is game one of the season, of a 17-game season, and you have to take into account the level of practice, the amount of practicing, rather, that you did, full pad, starters, usage of players, et cetera, plus there's some question marks about what you're going to do with your quarterback. I get all of that, and they still lost. They still beat New England, but it was 17-16. You look at Tui, passed for 202 yards. You look at New England, I'm just saying to myself, I'm not sneezing at that. Mac Jones, 29-39, 281 yards, one touchdown, no interceptions. Damian Harris, 100 yards rushing, 4.3 yards a carry. Nelson Aguilar had about 5 receptions for 72 yards. James White got in the mix. Jacoby Myers got into the mix. Looks like a typical New England team to me. And the fact that the defense, they lost 17-16. We get it. It's just game one. There's nothing that disproves or summarily dismisses what I said about New England potentially being a threat in the AFC.
Mac Jones, most passing yards by a Patriots quarterback in his first career start. Michael, your thoughts?
Yeah, but listen, let me tell you something why you don't have to be overly concerned about the Patriots right now is because what we just talked about with Buffalo. They were supposed to run away with the division, and they look like they looked. So that means, you got a shot. But I got to go back to one thing, too, when you talked about Mac winning out. Mac won out also because of his ceiling is high. Hey, Cam's at his ceiling, and Mac has a ceiling to go. So that kind of helps him win that job, man. I hope Cam gets another job. I hope he gets an opportunity. If I'm watching, I'm bringing him in.
I hope so, too. Nobody's rooting against Cam. I'm just saying if we speak in truth.
Right.
You lost out to a rookie.
Yes, he did.
Let me ask you this.
A guy that
He
knows
lost out
him
to the
best.
future.
The guy that knows him best.
It's going to be the future.
Doesn't call him.
No. It's a great point. But Miami was the only team to win in the AFC East. I obviously know two teams went up against each other. But do you believe in Miami?
Not yet. I believe in Brian Flores.
Right.
I think that this defense could be real. Offensively, I can't say that yet because I got too many questions about their quarterback right now because they have questions about their quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
And so because they have questions about their quarterback, New England lost. They lost to Miami. Buffalo lost to Pittsburgh. The New York Jets lost to a Carolina team that got Christian McCaffrey back, and they utilized him effectively in Carolina. We can't ignore that either. So I'm good with what I saw.
But if they can get Devontae to make plays like that, Devontae Parker,
yes.
Then they got a shot, even with that quarterback, because he knows how to play the game inside. If he can get some outside plays like that kid made yesterday, then Miami will have a shot with Brian Flores on the defense.
Oh, yeah. Brian Flores knows what the hell he's doing, and he's fiery. He gets guys motivated. They go out there and they play for him. They got elite corners as well. Miami is not a team to be ignored, but until you tell me you're completely comfortable and shored up at the quarterback position, I'm not going to call myself a believer in you while you're in the AFC.
All right, it's time for the Playmakers Top Playmaker of the Weekend. Michael, what you got for me?
And this was just a great day for me because ultimately my Hurricanes won this game. But you see this right here? Oh, my God, this was a moment at Hard Rock Stadium right here. The cat was hanging on. Everybody we were in remembrance of 9/11.
Yep.
So, hey, a cat hanging on like this.
Never forget.
And then all of those great fans down at Miami, boy, grabbed the flag and saved that cat and saved the day. I mean, it was great. My team saved it today on the football field. The fans saved the day in the stand. It was a beautiful moment.
I'm glad somebody's college football team won. Ravens, Raiders tonight?
I'm going to give the Raiders the benefit of the doubt. They're on their home court. And on top of it all, the Baltimore Ravens have been decimated at the running back position because of their running backs, DK Dobbins.
People are tuning in tonight to see what progress has Lamar Jackson made in the passing game.
Right.
What about Derek Carr?
Yeah,
You've been talking about Derek Carr.
He's not going anywhere.
Okay.
Lamar Jackson.
A lot of fun with these two. Thank you for being